Well, we are finally here. After months of battle and war, even a 2-month break in the middle of the season due to a global pandemic. NASCAR has finally been able to make it to the championship round after a full season. And even still ending the season on time, believe it or not. The fans will be allowed at a reduced capacity. But we have finally reached the end of the 2020 season. One more weekend left in this very difficult clusterfuck of a season. The championship weekend. Of course, this weekend we will also say goodbye to Jimmy Johnson and Clint Bowyer, as both drivers make their final starts in the Cup Series full-time. Jimmy Johnson, of course, will head off to IndyCar to complete a childhood dream, while Clint Bowyer will head up to the Fox Sports booth to now replace Darrell Waltrip, and make an entertaining duo that will be very entertaining to watch with him and Jeff Gordon in the booth. But anyway, we have 3 championship races this weekend. Let's preview all 3 of them. So, of course, let's start this off previewing the truck race. So the Truck Series Final Four is pretty much shades of last year's Cup Series Final Four, when last year's Cup Final Four was Kevin Harvick versus Joe Gibbs Racing. This year, it's Grant Enfinger versus GMS Racing. So let's first go through all 3 GMS drivers. So you got Sheldon Creed, who's had a breakout season, which you love to see. Love to see a young up-and-coming driver have a breakout year and make a name for himself. For Sheldon Creed, a championship would be the best way to end this breakout year, and officially make him a name for himself and make him a mainstay in NASCAR. You also have Shane Smith, a very young driver, also having a breakout year, getting a couple wins, and shockingly making the Final Four, which you love to see that from a young driver like Shane Smith. So, of course, Shane Smith also making a name for himself, trying to make a name for himself, and make it to the Truck Series. He's been very solid all year. You then got Brent Moffitt, who's really been very under the radar throughout the season. He was able to finally break through and win at Kansas, and Moffitt has been in this position multiple times in his career. Moffitt, of course, being a former champion. Now can Moffitt add that second truck title to his name? And then you got Grant Enfinger, who last year became the first regular season champion across all 3 series to be knocked out in the first round. And now this year, he's had a bounce back season, has made it all the way to the Final Four. Even battling some adversity on the way at Martinsville when he had to overcome a 42-point deficit in one race by just simply winning the damn thing. So yeah, Enfinger's no stranger to adversity. And of course, with Richmond, Richmond's with Phoenix, it's kind of like Richmond. Like, whoever runs well at Richmond is gonna usually do well at Phoenix. And Enfinger did win that Richmond race. So Enfinger could be the championship favorite entering this. Granted, though, what happened at Richmond in September is a lot different than what's gonna happen at Phoenix in November. But of course, 2 GMS drivers are looking to end their breakout seasons. Like, this is going to be a tough Final Four to call. So yeah, out of these 4, who will be your 2020 truck champion? So of course, we all know the deck is very stacked in GMS's favor, with them having 3 drivers in the Final Four, which gives them a 75% chance of winning the title. But, this is going to be an interesting Final Four. I think it could go a lot of different ways. You can make a solid argument for all 4. But I feel like that one driver has a giant chip on his shoulder from last year after being embarrassed from winning the regular season title and getting knocked out in the first round. And for this driver, a truck title would officially redeem himself. And the way it's been setting up, it looks like this redemption is more than likely going to happen. So I think the way the racing gods have been, and the way this season is lined up, everything is all lining up to Grant Enfinger winning his first career truck championship. So yeah, for my trucks prediction, I got Grant Enfinger taking the Truck Series title. I think it's lining up towards that. But yeah, so with that out of the way, now it's time to look at our 4 drivers battling for the Xfinity title. So here is the Xfinity Final 4 for the Xfinity Championship this year. So you have Chase Briscoe, who's had a monster of a season, a record season. 9 wins for an Xfinity regular. That's impressive. Puts him in a league of his own. Like, he has just been impressive this year. Like, he just wins. He's just a fucking winning machine. He just wins, and wins. He just keeps winning. When you expect him to fall off, he keeps winning. Every time something bad happens to him, he still finds the way to keep winning. Hell, 2 times this year, him and his wife have had to go through the pain of a miscarriage. Very heartbreaking, by the way. But either way, he still finds a way to keep winning. He just won't go down. He just will not be denied this year. He just keeps winning, man. And of course, for Briscoe, his hard work this season will officially pay off since he will be going to the Cup Series in 2021 to drive the 14 car and replace Clint Bowyer. And of course, it's looking like Stewart-Haas is now looking at the long-term future of SHR and putting all the focus on Briscoe, as it seems like Kevin Harvick will no longer be the main focus at SHR. Maybe Chase Briscoe can be the one that finally challenges Harvick for number 1 driver at Stewart-Haas in 2021. We'll have to see, though. But yeah, the best way for Briscoe to head into the Cup Series, of course, is to get that Xfinity Championship. And add more hype to it. More hype to his Cup Series date, to his Cup Series name. And of course, you have Austin Cindric, who won't be coming into the Cup Series until 2022 to drive the 21 car for the Wood Brothers. But Austin Cindric, he's had a breakout year, getting multiple wins, 5 wins. Of course, well, 5 of those wins came in a 6-race span. Like, he got a couple wins on the road courses in Road America and winning at, yeah, he also won at, the Daytona Roval. And he even got 3 wins on ovals, sweeping a doubleheader in Kentucky, and winning at Texas. Granted, he only got Texas, though, because Kyle Busch got disqualified. And the win was, which led to Cindric getting the win. Because technically, that Texas race, Kyle Busch won it, but Kyle Busch got DQ'd for cheating. So yeah, Cindric ended up getting the win as a result. But hey, Cindric's still respectable this year in his own right. You can say whatever you want about him, saying, oh, he's a Silver Spoon kid, and that, oh, he only got a top ride at Penske because of who his dad is, being a co-owner of Penske Racing. Say whatever you want about it. Cindric's at least living up to expectations now. And he's not really a Silver Spoon unless he's living up to expectations, which he has this year. He's had a breakout year. So say whatever you want. Cindric has proven he's earned this ride fair and square. So yeah, you can keep crying about it all you want, but Cindric's going to keep proving the haters wrong. And Cindric, the best way to silence the haters and shut them up once and for all is to win the Xfinity Championship. And I know an Xfinity title win for Austin Cindric will make Kamikaze Games have a Chernobyl-style meltdown. And all I say is, yeah, we already saw a preview of that last week when Chase Elliott won Martinsville to get into the Final Four. Spoiler alert. But yeah, anyway, continuing on, next we have Justin Allgaier. Allgaier has had a bounce back year. Like, Allgaier, he really didn't show up until we got to a little bit of a short track swing when he won Dover, and then he swept the Richmond doubleheader right before the chase started, so getting a couple wins. And it seemed like Allgaier was one of the hottest drivers entering the Xfinity chase, getting hot at the right time. But to be perfectly honest, I feel like Allgaier should have more wins this year, but once again, the reason he doesn't is because he's kept getting screwed over by bad luck and utter bullshit. It's just the bad luck will not go away from Allgaier. But yet here Allgaier is. The one thing Allgaier does have going for him is that Allgaier did win this race last year to make the Final Four. Back when the championship race used to be at Homestead. Now the race he won it last year to get into the Final Four is now the championship race. And you know, with him winning at Richmond, he does have that kind of experience to get it done at Phoenix. But can Allgaier seal the deal and finally win that Xfinity Championship that's eluded him throughout his career? Or will bad luck once again find a way to strike him in the ass again? And next up we have Justin Haley? What the hell? I mean, I had Justin Haley as a dark horse candidate for the championship this year, but I didn't think he'd actually make the Final Four. What the hell? So yeah, Justin Haley, of course, having a breakout year, getting 3 wins this year, sweeping Talladega and winning the Daytona night race. And you may think, oh, he's just only good at restrictor plate races. Well, wrong. He's also very good everywhere else. He can run top 5, top 10 everywhere else. He's been in contention to win races on a lot of the road courses and smaller tracks. He just has not been able to finish the deal on those tracks. Well, mainly when you're facing brick walls like goddamn Chase Briscoe, yeah, it's very hard to beat Briscoe this year when with the year he's having. But Justin Haley is respectable in his own right. Justin Haley has proven he's making a name for himself, and he's going to be someone to keep an eye on in the sport for years. Now, the big question is, can he build off it? And could he shock the world and pull off one of the biggest upsets in the Xfinity Championship history? So yeah, in this one, you got a driver that's had a dominant season, trying to cap off a dominant season. You got another driver trying to shut his haters up once and for all and shut the silver spoon talk up once and for all. You got another driver trying to get that championship that's eluded him his entire career. And then you have another driver looking to pull off one of the biggest upsets in Xfinity Championship history. In the end, only one of these drivers can get their storylines done. Who will it be? So for the Xfinity Championship, there's a lot of feel-good stories in this one. You know, Haley would obviously be the long shot bet. I mainly think it's going to be between Chase Briscoe, Allgaier, and Cindric. I think mainly it's going to be between Briscoe and Cindric because I feel like Allgaier is going to get screwed over off bad luck and bullshit once again. It's just been a theme here that Allgaier has a legit shot at a title, and then he gets screwed over by bad luck. And I think that's going to happen at Phoenix. Allgaier gets screwed over. I think it's mainly between Briscoe and Cindric. These two have had really good seasons. They've been the class of the field all season. But only one of them can win. Kamikaze said that this has a 75% chance of ending well. And since Kamikaze said that, he probably just jinxed it, and now it's going to go with the one way it ends badly. And I honestly feel like Kamikaze is about to have a Chernobyl meltdown. Because I feel like Austin Cindric is going to win the Xfinity Championship this year. I feel like Cindric's going to pull it off. Because Chase Briscoe's had a very good year. But we've seen in this format before, the best driver throughout the season we've seen under this format that the best driver throughout the year has failed to win the championship on numerous occasions. And I feel like it's going to happen here. And plus, for Briscoe, let's make it simple. The best season ever won't mean a thing if you don't win that ring. And I feel like with all the pressure on Briscoe, I feel like that's going to open the door for Cindric to shock everybody and win the championship. And then Cindric will officially shut the haters up. So yeah, for my Xfinity Championship, I feel like it's going to go to Austin Cindric. But anyway, now with that. Now to focus to the main event. The Cup Series Championship. Time to look at the 4 drivers who will battle for the Bill France Cup. Let's meet our 4 drivers that will battle in the Desert Arena Death Trap. So here are the 4 Cup drivers that will battle for the Cup this Sunday. So of course, we have Brad Keselowski, who's had a really solid bounce back year after a couple years where he's been knocked out in the round of 12. Now he's made it all the way to the Final 4. And here's the fun fact. The last 2 times he's made it past the round of 12, he's made it to the Final 4. So yeah, Brad Keselowski, he's in the Final 4. And Keselowski's had a lot of success since this race will be under the 750 low downforce package. And Keselowski has had a lot of success with this package. Like, out of his 4 wins this year, 3 of them have come under this package. He with those 3 wins under this package coming at Bristol, New Hampshire, and the Richmond Chase race. And of course, for Keselowski, for this race, it's already been confirmed he'll have the car he won at Richmond with for this weekend. But granted, will that car still perform well? Because what happens at Richmond in September is a lot different than what happens at Phoenix in November. Like, it's going to be 2 different tracks, 2 different weather. But both tracks have a lot of similarities, but yeah, still. And of course, for Keselowski, he not only wants to get his 2nd championship of his career. The last time he won a championship was 2012, 8 years ago, when he beat Jimmy Johnson for the championship. And of course, if Keselowski does capture the title this year, he'll also do another thing. He'll also give Penske Racing their first ever dynasty in NASCAR. Because this title win for Keselowski, it would be Penske's 3rd championship in NASCAR in 8 years. And that would qualify as a dynasty. Because a dynasty is 3 titles within a 10-year span, dating from when the first championship happened. Or at least 3 titles and not in a 9-year span. So Keselowski, he would want to be the one to give Roger Penske his first Cup Series dynasty. Considering the number of dynasties that Roger Penske has had in IndyCar, I think it's pretty shocking that Roger's never had a dynasty in NASCAR. But of course, Keselowski's not the only one that wants to give Roger that same motto. The other driver in the Final 4, his teammate, also wants to give him that same mantra too. Joey Logano. Of course, Logano, he's no stranger to the Final 4. And the weird thing is, I'm starting to sense a weird pattern here with Logano in the Final 4. Because it seems like every time we're on an even number year, Logano always makes the Final 4. But and it's always a championship contender. But every time we're in an odd number year, Logano's just completely irrelevant and falls apart and doesn't even come close to the Final 4. So yeah, sensing that pattern, I have a feeling that Logano's not going to be in the Final 4 next year, since 2021 is an odd number year. But don't worry, Logano, if you don't fail to win the title, you at least have a chance in 2022, with the next even number year. Yeah, because the only time Logano's ever made the Final 4 have been on even number years. 2014, 2016, 2018, and now 2020. And of course, Logano did win the championship the last time he was in the Final 4, back in 2018. So Logano knows how to get it done in this situation. And also, Logano did win this race back in 2016 to make the Final 4 back in 2016. But now this race is the championship race. And of course, Logano, a championship for him here would be his 2nd title in 3 years. And of course, if Logano gets the title, then he'll be the one to get that, to give Roger Penske his first NASCAR dynasty. So of course, you got Keselowski and Logano, both teammates, and both of them want to be the one that gives Roger Penske his first NASCAR dynasty. And let's be real, they may be teammates now, but come Sunday, there's no such thing as teammates. It'll be every man for himself. And keep in mind, both Logano and Keselowski, they both had friendly fire to start the year during Daytona Speed Weeks, when Logano would accidentally wreck Keselowski twice that weekend. Yeah, and there are talks about would that be the straw that broke the camel's back and Keselowski would leave Penske? But that so far hasn't happened, with Keselowski staying. But that extension was only for 1 year, while Logano and Blaney are locked into long-term deals. So in a way for Keselowski, it looks like that Keselowski may not be the long-term future or focus at Penske Racing anymore. And that Logano could be the focus and future from here on out. But of course for Logano, there's one man that he's going to have to keep an eye on. And that's Denny Hamlin at Joe Gibbs. Now Hamlin has had a really good season this year. Hamlin started his season by winning the Daytona 500. Of course, Hamlin wasn't allowed to celebrate that win much longer due to Ryan Newman's near-fatal crash. But since then, Hamlin has really had a solid season. I should also mention with Logano, though, is that one thing Logano does have going for him entering this race is that Logano did win at Phoenix back in March, before the season shut down to the pandemic. And before the season became a crapshoot. So Logano does have that going for him. Now, can Logano do what he did back in March and win here? We'll have to see this Sunday. Now, for Hamlin, of course, has had 7 wins this year. And also, I should mention one more thing with Logano. Out of his 3 wins this year, that Phoenix win back in March is his only win under the 750 horsepower package. Now, for Hamlin, he's won a number of races, 7 races. He's been the second best driver all year behind Kevin Harvick. And you know, with Kevin Harvick not being in the Final Four, that's going to be a big burden off Hamlin's shoulder. As Hamlin, of course, we all know Hamlin. One of the biggest legacies of failure in NASCAR. Hamlin wants to snap that and win a championship. And if Hamlin gets this championship for Joe Gibbs Racing, he'll give Joe Gibbs his 2nd NASCAR dynasty. Of course, the last time that Joe Gibbs had a NASCAR dynasty was from 2000 to 2005, when Joe Gibbs won 3 championships in a 6-year span, with Bobby Labonte winning the title in 2000, and then Tony Stewart winning the championships in 2002 and 2005. So Joe Gibbs is no stranger to dynasties. And of course, we all know Joe Gibbs was a very underrated coach with the Washington Redskins. And he's had a really successful NASCAR team too. And of course, Joe Gibbs' other 2 titles so far that set him up for this shot at the dynasty were in 2015 and 2019 with Kyle Busch. Could Hamlin add that there? And if Hamlin does get this title, it would be Joe Gibbs' 3rd championship in 6 years. So kind of like shades of the last dynasty. So can Hamlin seal it, or will normal playoff Denny Hamlin come to bite Hamlin in the ass and Hamlin chokes again? But for Hamlin, out of his 7 wins this year, only 1 of them have come under this package. And that win came at Dover during the Dover doubleheader. But we shouldn't sleep on Hamlin at Phoenix. Hamlin has experience at Phoenix before. Because keep in mind, Hamlin did win this race at Phoenix last year to make the Final Four. And now this race is the championship race. And the man that Hamlin knocked out to make the Final Four by winning Phoenix last year is in the Final Four this year in Joey Logano. So for Hamlin, can Hamlin do what he did last year and win Phoenix? Or does the legacy of failure have another painful chapter to it? I mean, the one good thing Hamlin has going for him now is he does have that Cup team he's making with Michael Jordan for next year with Bubba Wallace, which will pretty much be a fit JGR car. And also, Hamlin will have a new teammate next year with Christopher Bell. So yeah, of course, for Hamlin, time's running out with where he is in his career. Can Hamlin finally win that championship, though, that's eluded him his entire career? Or will Hamlin find a new painful way to lose and make the legacy of failure stay alive and well? But of course, there's still one more man to keep an eye on, because the 4th and final driver in the Final Four, we have Chase Elliott. For the first time since 2016, a Hendrick driver has made the Final Four. Before I preview Chase Elliott, let me ask all you NASCAR fans a question. Picture this. Picture a Hendrick Motorsports fan that was not alive for any of Hendrick's 12 NASCAR titles from 1995 to 2016, during both of Hendrick's dynasties. Very hard to imagine that. Yes, that is a reality. There have been a number of Hendrick fans born after Jimmie Johnson's championship in 2016 that have not experienced a championship in their lifetime. But of course, Chase Elliott could make a lot of those young Hendrick fans' dreams a reality. So Chase Elliott, he's had a really solid year. He's a mainstay name. Of course, Chase Elliott, the most wins he's had in the season this year with 4. And of course, Chase battling a lot of adversity throughout the chase. Of course, he entered Martinsville needing a win to get in. He battled the adversity, came from behind, and won Martinsville. Even having to deal with a pit crew shitting the bed. And Chase was able to come through in the clutch and get it done. And of course, entering this race, Chase, he did lead the most laps back at Phoenix in March. He had a dominant car. Had a race-winning car that race. But there he had problems with a loose wheel and the pit crew shit the bed. That's going to be the one big thing for Chase Elliott. Can his pit crews keep it together and not shit the bed at Phoenix? Like, they got lucky last week with Chase Elliott being able to drive through the field and come from behind. But if that happens at Phoenix, Chase ain't coming back. And the one thing Chase has going for him this year is that out of his 4 wins this year, 3 of them have come under the 750 horsepower package. With those 3 wins being the Daytona Roval, the Charlotte Roval, and Martinsville last Sunday to make the Final 4. And of course, for Chase Elliott wants to start his name, wants to make his own legacy. And I believe Chase Elliott really the last week and a half, 2 weeks, he's had that giant chip on his shoulder. Because ever since it was announced that Kyle Larson would be the 4th driver at Hendrick Motorsports, all the focus in the media went right to Kyle Larson. And then everyone was starting to dub Kyle Larson as the number 1 driver at Hendrick Motorsports, and completely ignoring Chase Elliott. And I think Chase Elliott took that disrespect to another level. And I feel like Chase has been a different driver. This isn't the same Chase Elliott of old. This Chase Elliott is driving like a man possessed. Like he's driving with a massive chip on his shoulder after being disrespected by Kyle Larson being named the 4th driver at Hendrick, having that giant burn on his shoulder, and then Chase just saying to everybody, hold up on the Larson hype. I'm still here. And that Hendrick Motorsports is still my team until Larson can knock me off the throne. So, of course, Chase Elliott, the best way to show everyone it's still Hendrick Motorsports is still his team, is winning that championship. So, of course, Chase Elliott has a lot to prove. And also, there's also a lot of the haters in there that said that Chase Elliott only got here because of his last name and calling him a Silver Spoon kid. So, the best way for Chase Elliott to shut the haters up is winning that championship. And of course, for Chase Elliott, I look at this season has a lot of similarities to Jimmie Johnson's 2016 title season. Because both drivers entered the chase with 2 wins. And ironically, both of Chase's wins in the chase came at Charlotte and Martinsville, which were the same tracks that Jimmie Johnson won at in the chase back in 2016. En route to the championship. And both Chase and Jimmie entered the Final 4 with 4 wins this year. And of course, keep in mind, in Jimmie Johnson's 2016 title year, Kevin Harvick did not make the Final 4 that year. And this year, Kevin Harvick did not make the Final 4, which was complete horseshit, but oh well. So yeah, and of course, this would be a perfect way for Chase Elliott to win the championship. In the same weekend that Jimmie Johnson retires from NASCAR. It would be a pretty good storybook ending to a very rough 2020 and a very challenging 2020 year. Mainly because 2020 has been a year a lot of us want to forget. But I mean, Chase Elliott winning in a feel-good story, it would be the perfect way to end this terrible year and go into the off-season. Just so we can fucking forget this year, but at least we have that to look forward to. And of course, for Chase Elliott, a championship win for him, it could kickstart another dynasty for Hendrick Motorsports. Of course, Hendrick Motorsports has been no stranger to dynasties. Hendrick's had two dynasties. Dynasty 1.0 was spanned between 1995 to 2001, when Hendrick Motorsports would win 5 championships in a 7-year span. Yeah, 5 championships in a 7-year span, with Jeff Gordon's 4 championships in 1995, 1997, 1998, and 2001, along with Terry Labonte's lone championship in 1996. And of course, we all know about Hendrick Dynasty 2.0, which was all 7 of Jimmy Johnson's championships from 2006 to 2016. What Jimmy Johnson completely dominated NASCAR in an 11-year span, winning the titles, of course, in 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2013, and 2016. And yep, you get the goddamn point. And of course, with Kyle Larson coming to Hendrick in 2021, so Larson and Chase Elliott, that's going to be a dominant, dangerous duo to keep an eye on for the next 5 to 10 years. That could be the third dynasty for Hendrick Motorsports. Like I've said before the last couple weeks, it's not a matter of if Hendrick Motorsports wins a championship with their young lineup starting in 2021. It's a question of how many they win. And they're going to win a lot of them. And could this season be the catapult to Hendrick Dynasty 3.0? So, of course, we have our 4 combatants set. So, of course, here are the main storylines coming into this race. Will Denny Hamlin finally end his legacy of failure? Or will Chase Elliott, or is this the start of the Chase Elliott era? Will NASCAR fans be subject to the same type of Hendrick arrogance that they've had to deal with for 2 decades? Or will NASCAR fans be subject to a new type of dynasty arrogance that might be 10 times worse than the Hendrick ones? So, will a dynasty be formed Sunday, or will the start of a new dynasty form Sunday? A lot of dynasty talk this weekend, but our combatants are set. Into the desert death trap we go. So this is a very interesting Cup Final Four. This is probably one of the more unpredictable Final Fours since 2016, where there isn't really a clear-cut number 1 here that's chip pick. Like, I think out of all these 4, you can make a solid argument for either 4 to win this championship. Like, all 4 of them have had some form of success at Phoenix, or have run well at Phoenix. Like, this is going to be a close one. It's going to come down to the wire. In the end, though, I could, between Keselowski and Logano, with it being every man for himself and both men wanting to be the one to hand Roger his first NASCAR champ dynasty, I could see both of them getting in their own ways and taking each other out. I could see that happening. And keep in mind, they did have some friendly fire issues and some issues with each other at the start of the year. Could that come back to haunt them? So yeah, I'm mainly with that out of the way. I think it's between Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin. Like, Chase Elliott, he's had a really solid year. Chase Elliott winning in Jimmy Johnson's last race, it would be the best feel-good story to head into the offseason with. But you know what? Since 2020 has been absolute dog shit, we're not going to have anything nice. And as soon as I hop on, and every time I hop on the trend ends up getting broken. So you know what? Since we can't have nice things in 2020, fuck anything I have to say with Chase Elliott. Denny Hamlin wins his first championship and ends his legacy of failure in the process. Because you know what? We can't have nice things, and I guess making fun of Denny Hamlin's legacy of failure and being a dead horse with it is something we can't have. So yeah, I got Hamlin winning his first championship. Plus, Hamlin has been extremely lucky this year, with some of NASCAR's questionable officiating at Talladega, when Hamlin should not have won that race, but they said, oh, Hamlin was forced below the line, so he gets to keep the win. And then there was Martinsville when Eric Jones had team orders not to pass the 11, which was obvious manipulation, but what the fuck is a penalty in NASCAR? So yeah, Hamlin's been extremely lucky this year, and I feel like Hamlin's luck is going to lead to him ending his legacy of failure, since it seems NASCAR is hell-bent on making sure Hamlin ends the legacy of failure this year. So yeah, I got Denny Hamlin winning his first championship at Phoenix. But yeah, that's the championship. Those are my championship predictions. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Hope everyone has a great day, and yeah, now watch me be completely wrong this weekend because that's my luck.